I am the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. Planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got two hearts, your life is saved. Run into the Master Raw, Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not rich. 12 bodies a man. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else. Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run, run. What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity. Sorry, mustache. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Jump in the TARDIS, go for a ride, it's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space, oh what's that? Exterminate.
Cyberman, a Daleks, baby.
Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go, a new adventure, Geronimo! I am fantastic, so are you, best come with me, I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to a brand new episode of D4WH, the best podcast in the world ever.
Ooh, that's
maybe sometimes when we get it together. Thank you so much for listening. I am your host. I'm Adam O'Sullivan. Joining me as always, hello, Lefty. It's Nicchia Shoot.
Hello, Adam. I would call you hello, Righty, but you're so left it won't work.
Righty, tighty, lefty, lefty.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. What have you been up to? Anything exciting?
Oh, nothing since we recorded the last episode. Just sitting here waiting for you.
Oh,
what have you been up to? Cross country?
Yeah. Cross country a few times actually. Yeah. No, I've been good. Haven't done anything exciting. Excuse me. Oh God, I've got gold dust on me from those bloody Cybermen.
Oh, I thought from mining gold.
Yeah. I've been mining gold.
Right, for the Cybermen. Yeah.
Yeah. No Cybermen. No Cybermen. No. I've been in Dolby.
Cool. Right.
It's been pretty boring. Yeah.
All right. Well, we start as we always do with Doctor Who in real life. D-whirl. Give it a D-whirl, I like to say.
A twirl and a D-whirl.
You D-whirl me right round, baby, right round like a D-whirl, baby. D-whirl, 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 D-whirl.
I wish this was a visual medium sometimes. I really
I'm glad
do.
this isn't a visual medium.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to record it one day.
Recently, the University of Central Lancashire has recorded a recreation of an old lost episode. Mission to the Unknown, which has been lost for many, many years.
Very exciting.
So, yeah, we would have seen pictures on Facebook and on Instagram, because Nicholas Briggs was involved with it, doing the voice of the Daleks. It's a missing episode that led into the 12-part episode, The Daleks Master Plan, which most of that is also lost as well.
Which is really... It's so frustrating that they just taped over it thinking it would mean nothing.
So crazy. But
I know.
Filming was so expensive back then, you know?
Yeah. And I think they only had, one camera and creaky sets and whatever.
So the BBC has announced that the recreation of the episode will be broadcast on their YouTube channel.
Ooh.
Yeah, so everyone will be able to see it. It's technically a fan film, but a recreation of what it was like in the 60s. And they haven't tried to modernize it or anything. They're going based on stills that they had, the audio that they had. You know, they're trying to make it as close as possible to what the original episode looked like.
Oh, fantastic. I hate it when they try to modernize it too much. You just want it to be its beautiful old self, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like the very first episode. Thank God they didn't dub over that or tape over that. But it is beautiful. I love it.
And this episode doesn't include the Doctor and his companions, so you don't have to try and get people who look like the first Doctor and the companions there. So it makes it a little bit easier to do a recreation of it. It's basically about the Daleks trying to get a bunch of different galaxies together to try and destroy Earth.
Yeah, the Daleks, they really got it in for us, haven't they?
Which is so strange for the later episodes where other aliens don't even know about Earth.
Yeah, but I just, what have they got against us? I mean, what did we ever do to the Daleks?
Everyone looks like us. Everyone's humanoid, but with green skin or something.
Yeah, I know, it's weird.
Maybe that's why they hate us.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe they just don't like... I don't know. We got too much ocean or something. I don't know.
Too much ocean. That's what they hate.
See that stinking country at that planet? Too much bloody ocean.
We can't swim. It's unfair.
Get rid of it.
They should make an amphibious Dalek, like those cars that they used to have, where they could just drive them into the water.
Oh yeah. I wonder if they'll have those in the future.
The Daleks' future?
No, ours.
Oh, the amphibious cars. I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah, I doubt it. They have to be airtight, and you have to have oxygen. And why? What? Like, yeah. Why would
Do you
want
need oxygen?
Yeah. Do you really need oxygen? This has become a philosophical podcast.
Yeah, I mean, what is oxygen really?
Yeah.
I know.
You know, but just our lifeblood that keeps us going. I don't know. You know, I was just thinking the other day that next year's 2020 and we are not flying in cars.
Where's my hoverboard? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, the Jetsons lied to me. They lied to me.
The only thing that has actually come to fruition is, because you mentioned hoverboard, the laceable boots that Marty McFly has.
Yeah,
and they
Marty
gave it to Michael
Which
J.
they
Fox.
only made as an anniversary of the movie.
Yeah.
Mission to the Unknown will be released on the BBC, the official BBC YouTube channel, on October the 10th at 2:50 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Exactly 54 years to the minute. The episode broadcast in the UK. So how cool is that?
That is very, very cool. I mean, how many shows have this much history?
Yeah.
They don't, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because there are other companies where people are trying to make fan stuff based on the stuff. And like Nintendo is famous for, just shut it all down. Nope, you can't do that. These games aren't available anywhere, but no, you can't play ROMs and blah, blah, blah. And BBC embraces that. They go, yeah, okay, we'll release it on our BBC website.
I know.
You know?
I know. It's really good. I really like that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be
Very
good.
much.
Maybe we'll review it. Ooh.
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
Are you guys going to wake up early enough to go watch it live? Or
I'm not going
just
to watch
wait?
it live. It's on YouTube. We can watch it whenever.
Yeah.
YouTuber
overlords.
The only time I got up to watch things live was when the internet wasn't as good and you didn't really have that opportunity. So you'd get up very, very late.
Yeah.
Or if they were putting the Doctor Who on at 4 a.m, and I know I could have watched it at 7 o'clock that night, but I wanted to be the first.
Yeah.
You know, so I could just walk around being smug all day.
Back in the day when we had to wake up early to watch the episodes. Back when the internet wasn't so good, when you didn't have to worry about spoilers on Facebook.
Spoilers.
You could wait a little bit to watch it, but now the spoilers are so bad, you got to wake up, watch the episode before you go on Facebook.
Yeah, because the people spoil it. They don't mean to, I suppose, or some people do. But you just read one thing, you go, oh no, I wanted to find that out for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have a lot of fun walking around going, Dobby died.
What? Dobby's in Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just finished reading I've just finished listening to the second book with Dobby. I love Dobby.
Dobby Dobby Doo.
I love the way Dobby bashes himself
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh.
It's quite funny.
Wait until later books when you get Spew.
Spew.
Spew, yeah.
Okay. Now, I've seen the movies. I'm only just going back to the books now. My daughter read all the books and said they were better. I watched the movies with her. And now, well, because I'm always busy, I can put on the headphones and Stephen Fry's dulcet tones can read Harry Potter to me.
The only reason why I know what that was because somebody on Instagram is doing a drawing...
Spew? Because I could draw a spew and I can't draw.
A drawing series of this really happened in Harry Potter, and that came up.
Yeah.
And they just made like little mockery of like all the male characters making fun of Hermione for supporting Spew. They're just like, ha ha ha, it's called Spew.
And why would they call it that? You know, like surprisingly, it was left out of the movies. Who knew? It's it's like Barf in the recent Spider-Man movie.
But it is good to get the books because you learn a little bit more about the lore.
The Doctor Who books. So it's good to read the original books that Doctor Who was based on.
Yeah.
Well, normally I listen to Doctor Who audio broadcasts or books, but I just decided I'd do something different.
Okay, today we're going to have another compilation episode because we know you guys love them so much.
And we're very tired.
Remember when we first started and we had this crazy idea that we were going to have people submit their stories of their craziest fandom?
Yeah, and no one submitted anything.
No one submitted anything.
What is wrong with you people?
Don't berate our audience, please.
Oh, sorry.
But we asked our guests what their crazy stories for fandom were.
Yeah.
And when no one responded, we kind of gave up after a while. But we do have enough for a full episode, so we are going to put it together and broadcast it to you. So if you do like this idea, please let us know. Maybe we could bring it back in the future. Maybe we could have an episode where you guys help us out.
Yeah, I really am interested in people's stories about, your crazy, silly stories that you go through.
Yeah, and this is new stuff. This is stuff that wasn't in our previous episodes. And it's stuff from some of the first recordings we ever did. There's Ashwin and MJ and
it's all sorts of fandom.
Yeah, and all sorts of audio quality, because some of it is back in the library. So it's going to be very, very, very echoey at the start.
Back before we got so good at editing too.
Yes. I think our first story episode is Andrew Dawson, which is your first episode, Beck.
Yep. Oh, my goodness. There you go, Beck. The first time I met you, who would have known I'd sit across from you at a table at my house?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Who would have known? Yeah.
Yay!
So please enjoy this episode. We hope you enjoy these people's stories as much as we do.
Yeah, and we will be back.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so I dressed up as Darkwing Duck.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and I went to Oz Comic Con where the guy who does the voice of Darkwing Duck was. I basically kept running into him, and so he was like, and I think he thought I was stalking him, because every time I'd see him I was dressed in this costume. So that was mine, basically.
And mine was when I met Matt Smith, and you can't get too close to them, so I dropped my handbag between us for the photo, so I had to lean in.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I got his autograph, and as he was doing that, I went, "Don't draw on your pretty face." And he looked at me, and I went, whatever.
Oh man, there's a band, I think they're from Canada originally, called the Tea Party, which is a bad name to have post the political movement.
Yeah.
The lead singer is this guy called Jeff Martin, and he brought out a solo album, and he was doing a meet and greet with fans that have watched it, and he's like proper sort of hippie rock star guy.
Very cool.
And I'm thinking it's about my turn to go up and get him to sign my CD. And this is before selfies. Like, you'd have to bring your an actual physical camera with you. So, and I'm like, what am I going to say? I don't want to sound like an idiot sort of fanboy. So this is what I said to him. Walked up and I'm like, "Here is my CD. Thank you so much for the music."
Thank you so much for the music.
Thank you so much for your story.
And he looks at me. He goes like, "Yeah, right on, man. Right on."
And that was it? That's the only thing you said to him?
That was literally, I'm just like, I embarrassed myself. Thanks for the music. But it's the way I said it. It was like I was like trying to hold back being sick. Yeah. I was just going to be like, "Hey man, look, Thea, thanks for bringing out all those albums. They've been great, huge."
And how old were you at the time?
22.
But why is it that you can't keep your shit together?
Yeah.
When you meet, I mean,
the worst thing to do when you want to impress someone, that's when you don't.
Yeah.
I met Matt Smith for like a couple of seconds. I actually got more time with Freema. She chats away. She's just lovely. But I met him and I was so excited, and I couldn't talk. I mean, I can talk anywhere under wet cement. I couldn't talk. I was all giddy, and I was like, I'm nearly dead. I'm that old,
And I had a friend who we went to see the Whitlams perform in Queen Street Mall, and they were signing CDs afterwards. And my friend, when we went up to Tim Friedman to get his signature, my friend had written out a song that he'd written. He gave that to Tim Friedman, and Tim goes, "Oh, you want me to sign this?" And he goes, "No, that's for you." Tim Friedman goes, "Okay, cool. Yeah, cool."
It'd be awkward, isn't it? Because you don't want to. You don't want to be rude because this person's being really nice. I've written you a song. Yeah. And also it's like, do I have to get new locks on my house now?
It wasn't until later that I kind of thought, Tim Friedman probably gets people sending him songs all the time, being like, "Oh, I'm the next you." Like, okay, well, go ahead and do it then.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to point out that my 28-year-old niece in Melbourne met Matt Smith. It was the same conference touring around.
Yep.
And afterwards, she said she went to the toilets and cried because she was so excited.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Dun, dun, dun.
Two embarrassing things come to mind. So for the Avengers movie premiere, I somehow convinced two of my friends, and only two of my friends, to go dressed up as Avengers. So I went as Thor.
Okay.
My friend went as Hulk, and he actually bought a Hulk costume. So he's the one who invested the most in it financially.
Did he paint himself green?
No, he didn't paint himself green. No, he just wore the suit, but he had to convince his wife that it was a reasonable purchase. And
on top of the cost of the ticket to go go see the movie.
Yeah. So he managed to do that. So he wore that. So he probably invested the most of all of us. And then my friend went as Iron Man. But all he did was he just wore a red shirt and wore a mask. So he got to cover his face. So he barely didn't have to make any kind of social investment in that whatsoever. So we did that. But that was all right. You know,
I'm sure there were probably other people dressed up as well.
Yeah, there was. So we were in that. But I mean, at the time, I don't know how old I was. I was in my mid-20s. So it was just on the cusp of being acceptable, I think, as an adult to be doing that.
Yeah.
But I do realise your audience members are Doctor Who fans, so they're probably like, that's totally fine. I'll do that when I'm in my mid-50s. The other embarrassing thing I did was there was a Thor replica hammer, which I saw on Gumtree.
Never get anything off Gumtree.
The story has started off great so far.
Yeah, I know. But I had just come back from doing some shows in Sydney, and I was really tired. I wanted to go home, but I saw it come up on Gumtree, and this lady was willing to let go of it for like I don't know. At the time, it was a cheap price. So I caught a train all the way out to Whoop Whoop to like bloody. I don't know, like Caboolture.
Oh my
just
God!
To go and make a meager saving on a Thor hammer. And
you might have needed the Thor hammer to get home safely from Caboolture.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, if anyone saw me, like I'm this big Asian dude with this big toy hammer, they would know that I'm unhinged anyway. They would assume it's unhinged dude.
So was it the actual replica? Was it like she hadn't made it herself? And
oh no, it's from like a line called Marvel Legends, where they make like proper. So like I have like a big
the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet.
So I have some of that same line.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
But the embarrassing part is I had to cart it all the way through the city and all that to get to a bus and stuff like that. And then I was actually meeting some people afterwards, so I was barraged with questions as to why you man in your 30s is carrying around this big toy hammer.
And you just said to people, I'm carrying it around because I'm worthy.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that at the time. I was too busy in a pit of shame. But,
no.
But
I think it's so funny that you're embarrassed by that. But for us, it's just a daily occurrence. Nicchia turned up today with her sonic screwdriver.
Yes, I shall just hang on.
Yeah.
Just in case MJ says something I don't like, the sonic screwdriver fixes everything apparently.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
Although he did think it looked like something else.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it was funny just to see a lady holding something which does look like a sex toy, saying that it fixes everything.
Well, that's right. And
it does.
It does.
It makes a noise and it fixes everything.
Yeah, I wonder what it does. I wonder what it is.
What's the weirdest piece of memorabilia that you've seen?
Seen or acquired?
Both.
Oh, okay. So I think the weirdest thing I have, from the game Portal, I think this is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a framed picture of Cave Johnson, who's like one of I suppose he's the antagonist of the series, really. But it's like a talking picture frame.
Oh, cool.
A talking picture frame.
Yeah. So it's a picture frame there, but like if you like press it on the bottom, it'll say quotes from the game.
Oh.
Yeah. And
when life gives you lemons, you make lemon grenades.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
It's a game called Portal. Yeah, and
You know,
he
I'm not
owns
into
the
that.
facility.
He owns the facility, yeah. But from afar, it just looked like a picture. So I've had so many people come to me. It's like, who's this important dude that you have a photo of? I'm gonna have to launch it to the.
That's great.
Yeah,
I do remember those. I really wanted the Portal gun.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I never got a chance to get a copy of that, and they don't make them anymore.
Oh really?
They haven't made a new Portal game in years.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be the next Half-Life in the sense that it'll be.
Yeah.
It'd probably be worth something if you had one.
Yeah, oh definitely.
The amount of
Well, they cost about $200 when they were out.
The amount of Star Wars toys that I had as a kid that ended up somewhere that would now be worth a fortune.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you just didn't think. They were toys, you got them, you played with them, and then suddenly you find out original Han Solo's worth however much money.
Well, now they sell twice as many toys as they used to because they're selling it to kids who play with it and the adults who never play with it.
Yeah, that's true. Who keep it in the box. Do you have anything that you have bought and never opened?
I haven't opened them. But they are secondhand. I did at my local cash converters. They had 2 Doctor Who action figures.
Oh, really?
And so I waited till they priced them down to like $5 each. So I bought both of them. I can't remember what figures they are. They're like 2 of the monsters.
Oh yeah,
2 of the random monsters.
Yeah.
Nothing worth anything. But I just haven't taken them out because keep them.
I've got a bobble-headed Fourth Doctor that's never been out of the packet. Only because someone bought it for me, which is lovely because I loved the Fourth Doctor. But I'm too old to play with it now, so it's just staying in the box. So there you go. I'll give it to my children who don't like Doctor Who, who'll probably throw it away.
Yeah.
They'll sell it on
They'll end
Porn
up in
Stars.
landfill inside some whale stomach.
Yeah.
So you're a whale murderer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, and that's probably what I wanted to grow up to be.
To be a
so
whale murderer.
That's why you bought it, is that correct?
Yeah. Look, I'm fairly happy that I'm going to have an impact.
Yeah.
Way
And
after
the
I'm
weirdest
gone.
memorabilia you've seen,
Oh boy, weirdest.
other than Doctor Who sex toys.
Yeah, well, that would actually have to take the cake right now. Yes, it's, very phallic. Man, weirdest thing I've seen. Like I cannot think. I think I've seen like weird. I'm gonna say weird, but I've seen like ridiculous $2,000-$3,000 like figures.
Yep.
Of superheroes. Like I was at this place in Melbourne, I think, and they have like a Wolverine statuette, which is like it had like a full-on cloth thing on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
really?
it's like probably 1:6 scale, so it's quite big. Like the claws were made of real metal.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's about $5,000.
Wow.
I was like, geez, man.
Yeah, I see some of those statues at EB Games, and they're like $500 and stuff, and it's like, wow, you'd have to really like that superhero.
Yeah.
It's not like the cheap action figures where you'd be like, oh, I like the Avengers, I'll buy the whole range of those.
Yeah.
And I think I saw one that was like the Dark Elf from the second Thor movie, and I
Yeah.
was like, who the hell is buying
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I know, yeah.
Like, that is the worst Thor movie.
Yeah, it is. I
That is
don't
one of the
even like
worst
that
Avengers
movie.
movies.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
unless you're a Doctor Who fan and you want to get it because Christopher Eccleston played that. But,
Okay.
like, no one's going, yes, the Dark Elf from the second Thor movie. That's my jam.
Yeah. That's who I worship.
Yeah, exactly.
No, to me it's strange. I think they should not make figures until after the movie comes out and then see if anyone's any good.
Yeah.
Because you're true. Dark Elf, why?
Yeah.
That's just whale killer as well.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a copy, Nicchia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel really embarrassed
Yeah.
now, but I've always been a bit hot for Christopher Eccleston. So,
Yeah.
pretty much
Understandable.
anything he was in. Yeah, a lot of sad dramas, but it was good to see him.
Hey, Eccleston, do you want to come round and just tell me all about how much you don't like being on Doctor Who? And why you didn't come back for the 50th anniversary, even though they really wanted you?
Oh, look, anyway, I think that the relationship ended poorly.
Yep.
I mean, look at Colin Baker. He wouldn't come back for his regeneration scene. The seventh Doctor had to put a wig on and a great big jacket and pretend he was him.
Oh,
So-
if only we could have that every single time. Just have the next person dress up as the previous
in
one.
the wig, that'd be good. I'd
Be
like
interesting
that.
to see Jodie Whittaker dress up as Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, no, wouldn't work.
Or whoever the next Doctor is, dress up as Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, well, we're not getting a new Doctor yet, are we?
No, I hope not. I really hope not.
All right, good.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was at the radio. I was hosting the radio, and Tom Gleeson came in.
Oh, yes.
Ooh.
It was him, and it was two other Deanne Smith and another comedian who his name I've forgotten. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But because I'm an open mic comedian, and these guys are very established
Yeah.
comedians. There's sometimes a hierarchy in our world,
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
and you're supposed to know your place.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I feel like, a couple of the first comedian I was with was like expecting me to know my place a bit more and be a bit more reverential and not asking very direct, blatant questions. And then
Yeah.
Tom Gleeson came in and he has the total opposite
Oh, really?
attitude. He's just so down to earth because he's so mean on his podcast, on his show.
Hard chat.
But in person, he doesn't have any of that. He's just, and he just brought the conversation to life. So it's not so much a fandom story, but I just want to say shout out to Tom Gleeson for just breaking down the barriers between pro and
But
open
that's
mic
and that's
comedians.
really good
Yeah, it's
because
really good.
as we know, there is a hierarchy, and you do feel like you should know your place. And then occasionally you meet someone and they just accept you as someone who does comedy,
Yeah.
and they have no problem, and they're not, telling you 15 times in the conversation how long they've been doing it.
Yeah.
So shout out to all of those people.
Who just speak to humans as humans.
Yeah.
And my first open mic, Adam Richards was the MC, and he was
Yeah.
fantastic, so lovely. He's on Whovians at the moment. A perfect because he's a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah, he's a
He was a
nutball.
perfect MC for me to have as a nerdy guy. And then almost a year to the day, he came back and MC'd another open mic, and he pretended to know who I was, and I was like, "You don't. You're like."
But that's
I've met you
nice.
once,
Yes.
you don't need to pretend that you know who I am. But it was just lovely that he was like, oh yeah, how's everything been going? And blah, blah, blah. And it helped my anxiety. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've had those moments where I like, oh, hey, it's good to see you. And they're like, you can see in their face like, oh, you don't know who I am. And
Yeah.
then drive home and be like, well, no one will ever remember me.
Yeah.
And that is nice.
Yeah.
It is nice when you get that, and you get the MCs that come from Melbourne and so forth, and they just treat you. They're just normal. They treat you like you're just a person. Yeah. They don't run around like God. So yeah, and it's good to know that Tom Gleeson's like that.
Yeah.
I kind of suspected he would be, but yeah. Good to know.
He said on the air his fans are not comedy fans. They're often just normal people with slight anger management issues. And they appreciate that in him. So you can't be too pretentious when that's your cult.
So you were saying about the hierarchy. So there's no like, you don't start off as a hierarchy as being the host. So even though you're the host, it's still like, well, you're an open mic comedian, so you need to recognize where you are in the hierarchy.
It was quite a long chat. Right. And the producer of the show...
Was it a hard chat?
Super soft, limp-wristed chat. Yeah, that's right.
Nailed it.
But because I was an open mic comedian, I had to kind of chat to them as a comedian to just probe the world and talk about the world and my experiences as well, because it's 45 minutes of conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had done that as just the host, then you would have been at the top.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
Yeah.
And were they almost looking at you like, you're a comedian, right?
I wonder if there is a little bit of that. I mean, not to bag out any of the guests, they're all fine, but the producer pointed out afterwards, she said, there's a bit of tension at the start of the interview where they weren't really coming with you. Some of the early guests, they weren't coming with you. Yeah. Whereas Tom comes straight with you.
Yeah.
You know, he really dives into the conversation.
It should almost be the opposite way, where you're an open mic comedian and they're a professional comedian, so they should be like, oh, you know the crap that we have to go through to get to this position, basically.
Yeah.
You know? There should be almost a camaraderie of like, yeah, I've had to do the Hamo Hotel, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And be heckled by drunk tradies who just want to have a piss up.
You know?
Yeah. So, yeah, you would think that there would be a little bit more. And there are some who are really good in mentoring and take an opportunity to go and talk to you after your set, or if you talk to them and say, oh, that was really good, or blah, blah, blah. But there's lots who just kind of come and go. So you've never fanned out on anyone?
Fanned
out,
that's what I was saying just before. I don't get...
Or do you just never get out of the house, and so you've never only really met your neighbours?
No,
it's exciting.
I wish... No, something about me emotionally is quite flat, so I don't get excited about celebrities. It's like when I'm watching a football game and everyone's getting really excited about a try being scored. I'm like, I guess score happened. Right, it's time to lift your hands, get excited, make the face.
Let's go through this ritual.
Yes, it feels like a ritual.
Oh, is this what humans do, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
This is why I like Doctor Who so much, because the Doctor is figuring out how we're supposed to behave.
Yeah. You do talk about Nintendo in your set.
Yeah.
Were you a Nintendo fanboy?
Sega. I was a Sega Master System.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had a Mega Drive.
Mega Drive, that was too advanced for me. I was like, stop at the Master System. But yeah, so I don't fandom out, which is probably good, because if you're interviewing people on the radio, you can't be too fandomy with them.
Yeah,
it's weird.
You don't want to do that. I mean, I couldn't interview anyone from Doctor Who, or I'd probably just start crying.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's so good to me.
And that would make it real awkward for me, who's trying to ask questions, and it's like, oh, sorry about the crying one.
Because I'm crying and licking their face.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that could be a new interview style.
Yeah.
Nicchia, the licking crier. It's better than the commander.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'd be fine, but I would be very nervous. Do you get nervous?
No, I just don't get nervous. They're just normal humans walking in, and I'm more focused on the conversation, what I want to find out from them. So don't fan them out. So maybe I'm just dead inside.
Yeah, we might just call you instead of the passive aggressive, just the flat line.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole world's been saved, Ashwin. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Should I put my hands up?
Yes, now's the time.
No, yay, try. Like, no, it's not. No, that's not the ritual.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I wouldn't say it's craziest. I went down to Melbourne for Supernova because Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were going to be there. I'm a big fan of Shaun of the Dead and the Cornetto trilogy of films. And so
Shaun of the Dead is very cool.
Oh,
yes. Hot Fuzz is my favourite.
I like Paul too. Paul's a good man.
Yeah,
but so I was just there as an attendee. Yeah. At this stage, I had just started doing the hosting stuff for Supernova in Queensland. And so I turn up, and it turns up one of their hosts who was supposed to do the warm-up for Simon Pegg and Nick Frost had called in sick.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I get seen in the line by one of the people. Go, oh, you're Supernova trained. You can do the thing.
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool. So what am I doing? So I'll just warm up the crowd because it's going to take a while to load these 2,000 people into the venue and all that sort of thing.
Jesus.
So I'm up the front and I'm doing like celebrity heads and lots of stuff, and it's taking longer and longer and longer to get a lot of people in the room. So eventually, I just start with my tight 5.
Yeah.
So I've got my tight 5 stand-up. I'm starting to do that. I'm doing a little bit of improv in front of the audience. I'm getting some call and response and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then eventually the host comes out and goes, "Hey, that's really good. They're ready to go. Let's get this started. Thanks, Scott." I hand the microphone over and I go and sit down. I've got a seat in the front row. And with this one, the Q&A was there was a microphone stand. Everyone was supposed to line up behind it and you'd ask your questions. And when they ran out of time, they ran out of time.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sitting there. I've got like 4 or 5 questions I want to ask. So I'm sitting in the front row, and then Simon Pegg and Nick Frost come out from behind the screen. And I know the building that they're in, and there's no green room. So they were there the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Listening to me do Celebrity Head and impro
And
my
your tight
and my tight 5.
Oh, wow.
So my brain just leapt out of my head, and I sat there going, and then didn't get to ask my question.
Yeah.
So it was like, doing entertainment in front of a crowd of that size, one thing, 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And then 2 of my
Heroes.
like from here to the door away from me, listening to the whole thing.
Wow.
Did they say anything?
No. Well, I got to interact with them briefly later when there was an autograph signing.
Yeah.
But they were very professional at the start because they were doing a whole bunch of promotion for Paul at the time when
Yeah.
they were doing
Yeah.
the Melbourne Comedy Festival. So they were very professional.
Wow.
But yeah, just my brain exploded at that moment.
Did you ask someone, like, did you guys know that they were just standing there the whole time?
No. My brain wasn't working at that
Wow,
time.
wow.
That is incredible. I would love to get that opportunity, as long as I didn't know they were
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
Because then as soon as Matt Smith came around the corner, I'd start sobbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
One day I'd like to be a warm-up girl. Does that mean I have to cuddle everybody?
Yes.
You are a warm-up girl. Yeah.
Yes.
You are a warm-up.
I mean, I just warm you up, do I? And then you
Generally.
get going. Yeah.
Generally.
That's what I call drive me crazy. Warm me up.
All right, I'm never doing this podcast again. And we've won bingo.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, welcome back to another episode of D4WH. We're speaking again to our favourite resident tech who works on our show for free. It's BekTech,
BekTech
BekTech.
or Artie.
the artist. Artie, the artist.
Yeah.
So what is your craziest, funniest, weirdest fandom story?
Silliest.
So I have 2. I'll tell the shorter one first. So a little while after I got into Doctor Who, I got into another sci-fi fandom called Red Dwarf.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love
Love
Red
Red
Yes.
Dwarf.
So because I'm from the technological era of, children that can just go online and find out like their favorite actors everywhere, I was following Robert Llewellyn, Danny John Jules, Craig Charles on Twitter, and I would actively talk to them every day sort of thing. And
Are you sure they weren't imaginary?
no.
I would talk to them every day.
I would talk to them every day. They would tweet me and they would do live streams and answer my questions, everything. But the craziest story that I had was I asked one of my friends who was going to the Red Dwarf convention, which is called Dimension Jump, to jokingly go say hello to Danny John Jules to me, for me, because it's in the UK. I couldn't obviously go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said that if she went up to Danny John Jules and said hello, she would need to poke him on the nose for me from all the way from Australia. Little did I know, she later sent me back a video of her poking Danny John Jules on the nose.
Do you know he remembered you?
No, it was somebody else doing it for me. So, here's this, massively well-known character just, having this weird girl coming up to him and saying, "Can I poke you on the nose?"
Yeah.
For my friend just in Australia, and can I film it? I promise this is not a kink or anything.
I love that he was like, well, it's not the weirdest thing I've ever had on,
Yeah.
so go ahead, I
I've
suppose.
been poked in worse areas.
Oh, by fans.
Oh, hello. And she
Hello.
doesn't like us talking about tripod.
Yeah.
And I can do it classily. You guys can't.
And what's the other story?
The other story is just how I managed to go from a random Doug Anthony All-Stars fan to assisting Tim Ferguson and just magically doing more and more stuff
Yes,
to do with.
that's how we met, was
Yeah,
at a
that's
Tim
how-
Ferguson comedy course.
So I started watching Doug Anthony All-Stars about 2 years ago, and me and my best friend at the time came up with an idea to create a comic book that I would give Tim at the first show that I ever went to. And when I gave it to him, he was just like, oh my God, this is great. We'll share it around everywhere. And so they did. So I had all of these Doug Anthony All-Stars fans coming up to me afterwards, and I was getting recognised at shows because of this comic book.
Wow.
By other fans. And yeah, it just kind of just took off. But then at the end of last year, I wanted to go to Tim Ferguson's comedy writing course, but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So he saw that I was messaging, like tweeting, whatever the hell you want to call it, about how I wanted to go, but I couldn't afford it. And so he invited me along to help, as long like I could come along for free as long as I helped him.
Yeah.
So now this year I did the course again, actively being his assistant.
Yeah.
Which is how then I met Tim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Poor Nicchia was crying.
I got overwhelmed and had to go to the ladies' bathroom and have a little bit of
Oh, geez, anyone would think it was Matt Smith or something.
I told you I'm no good with famous people. What I like the most about him is Beck says, this is Nicchia and this is Adam. And he shakes our hand and he says to me, I'm Tim.
Yes.
Really?
I think we know who you are, mate. No, he's a lovely guy, though.
He seemed, and
Yeah.
from what you've said too, he just seems like the nicest guy. I had such a mad crush on him in the 80s.
Oh, but I do too.
Oh, yeah.
Really awkward.
Yeah.
He sent a friend of ours a birthday greeting on her birthday this year.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah,
that was great. I was so devastated that I couldn't record that when we were at her party.
Oh, what a good guy.
All right. Thank you very much, Beck. Now get back behind the microphone.
Yeah, and get editing, woman,
Yeah.
for God's sake.
Come on, this needs to be edited by last week.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm never doing this podcast again. Did you get bingo?
Yes, I got all
Yeah.
of them again.
Oh, good, good.
Dun dun dun.
No, like how like funny it is, but is it? But like probably 2005 would have been like 16. There's this wrestlers band is going to be in town. Chris Jericho's band Fozzy, and was going to be in town. But like predominantly, most of the people in the crowd were there to, like, they didn't give a fuck about the other members. So
Yeah.
it was just there, which I felt bad for, but it was including me. There was like about this line up at the door, people like with Chris Jericho merchandise wanting, but like, and then like you could. Like, I was handing stuff to the other members, but you could tell how sort of annoyed they were. And then, like, I finally meet Chris Jericho, and because I don't like crowds or anything, I'm already sort of just in this bossy, I'm just being a dick mood to my mum. I'm just being a complete dick, and I didn't even pay attention to, you're not even paying like attention how I'm coming across to actually the person I'm like, I idolize or anything like that. Yeah, and then so finally, he's at the end of the table, finally get up to Chris Jericho, and then like I'm like sort of posing like for a photo, but mum's got one, decided on this day, she wouldn't have a normal camera. She bought like a disposable thing, and she couldn't get it to work for like that, and they're holding up a line for like 10 minutes. She couldn't get it to work, and then so Chris Jericho just leaped over the thing and then just winded it for her, and it was like, I'm like, this is I feel embarrassed.
Oh, yeah, I know, but
Did your mum ever tell you why she decided a disposable camera?
I don't know. I'm not a. I'm not
this is a
sure.
special occasion, and she's like, "Let's buy a shittier camera."
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was something.
What is it with mums? And my mum would be like that. She'd cut everyone's head off. She'd take the photo, and we had to pay for every print in those days. And it'd come back, and it'd be your aunt's wedding and grandma's 70th, and no one would have a head on them because your mum took the photos. So.
Well, maybe that's the thing. Maybe she'd only taken a couple of photos on the film, and she's like, well, if I take your photo with Chris Jericho, then I have to wait till I've used up the rest of the film. She's like, no, I'll just buy a spare camera. But, I mean, even then, you could just get the film developed with the other exposures done.
It was, no, you had to use it up. It was such a waste.
Yeah, I know, but if she was buying the disposable camera just to take photos of him with Chris Jericho, we'll just use the whole thing.
Oh, maybe she was, she couldn't get one photo out for, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah. But,
And how old were you, 16?
I was about 16, yeah. But, yeah, I've had, it's a couple of times where I just had the sort of meetings with wrestlers that didn't really go as well as there was Like,
what were you expecting?
I don't know. Like I went to a signing at this, one of my big shopping centers for like another wrestler named Booker T. And I'm at the back of the line, but I get ushered to the front because I'm in a wheelchair. So I'm like, yeah, special.
Yeah, woohoo!
And then get there. Like I'm just in my own little world, like maybe imagining what it's like. And then I just come to, and he must have held his hand up for ages. And it's like, oh shit!
No.
So I finally hold my hand up. And then like he takes a photo, and I realize, and then like they WWE posts the photos on the on their website under a section. And I was looking through it. I'm like, where's me? And I realized I was like right at the bottom. I couldn't tell it was me because I forgot to look at the camera. It's just the back of my head. And I've still got it somewhere. I forgot to actually turn around.
No, come on. That is the best story.
I love that all of your stories about just delaying your time with wrestlers. So you meet the wrestler and you're like, how can I get extra time? I'll just pretend I'm an idiot.
Here, Mum, here's a disposable camera. You don't know.
You set it up with your mum. You're like, okay, just pretend you don't know how to use the camera so I get extra time with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, but there's also been like the random times, like when I was actually, me and my friend at the time were going to a signing, but on the way there, like there's this really big, like I just sort of didn't even know, it didn't occur to me like it was a restaurant at the time, but this really huge like Japanese guy like with a mohawk really took my attention. And then I realised, that's, his name was Kento Suzuki. I'm like, that's Kento Suzuki. And then like talked to him for a bit, and then he doesn't have much English, but he just pointed to the guy at the front. He goes, Rey Mysterio. I'm like, what? And he turned around. I'm like, holy shit! And he's like, you come in this room. And then like, there's a guy named Billy Kibben there. I'm like, this is weird.
Wow!
Wow!
It's like a wrestler clown car. They just keep popping out.
Yeah. So yeah, that was completely random. But
have you ever met Hulk Hogan?
No.
That's the one wrestler I know.
Yeah.
I know The Rock.
Oh yeah, The Rock.
But I didn't know he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I've also heard of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You just thought The Rock was called The Rock?
Yeah, I just thought,
Yeah.
people have weird names nowadays.
Yeah, I haven't met them or John Cena or anything like that.
He does acting now too.
Yeah, he's in Bumblebee.
That's pretty much all. So wrestling is and UFC.
Wrestling, UFC, and I'm a huge movie buff as well.
Yeah,
so.
and I didn't realise that, Mr. Movies.
Yeah. I'm just
so we could call you a wrestle move.
There's like a
suplex.
Yeah, the half Nelson.
I think those are the only two wrestling moves I know how to.
I know the half Nelson.
The full Nelson is that a wrestling move? There's a half
Nelson. It's a wrestling move.
The Willie Nelson.
The Willie Nelson. No.
So it's just where you get high with a wrestler.
Yeah.
You do an Ashwin and just hug them a lot.
Yeah. So, but obviously, movies and stuff. That's
So your dad owned a video shop.
Yeah. He owned a video and lotto shop, and I used to go in there and just sort of play the 64 or something out the back or something, or I'll sort of even help out the customers and stuff because I knew way too much about movies back then as well. I remember one time because the day before, it was a Sunday, I was sick, but I thought I was alright, so I came to school, and then I was with my teacher aide or something, and I just explained that I was sick, and she got concerned that maybe I'm still sick. I'm like, no, I'm fine, but she can just be like, I left, and I'm like, I'm not. Yeah, so I went to video shop, and I'm like, this is weird, I'm not actually sick, but weirdly enough, maybe 3 or 4 hours into it, I just became sick and I threw up. It's like my body was like, we need to cover for the, I need to make you sick to make you cover the story.
I've got a friend she said every time she tells a lie, it happens.
Yeah.
So she's scared now.
I won the lottery.
Yeah.
She tells that one a lot.
Yeah. No, to get out of something, she'll go, such and such. And then one was, she said, no, I've had a car accident. And she had one, that day.
My friends, my friends' mum and dad in New Zealand, I saw them recently, last year. They got a new house. They got a new house because they won the lottery, and then a week later, the mum, Angela, her mum's sister, rang up and said she won the lottery. How the hell does that happen?
Oh, wow! God, you're kidding.
Just what? Yeah.
Married into that family. The lucky family.
Look, and it's just everyone will tell you the odds all they like, but people win. I know people who've won.
Yeah.
So Richie knows people who've won.
Yeah.
People win.
Yeah.
Might as well be me.
Yeah. I'm usually pretty cynical about like odds and stuff, but it happens. I don't know, whatever.
Like they give away prizes of over $10 million and they still make money, so that's how many people are entering.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are right. You know, somebody has to win.
Yeah.
Might as well
Eventually they do, and I've known a few of them. So yeah, not well enough that they sent their millions to me.
So back in the video store, would your dad get people come in and be like, I want to find this one movie, and he'd be like, talk to Richie, he'll be able to tell you what it is.
Yeah, he'd, like, I didn't even, I think I was just like, considering myself as that sort of role. He didn't actually even go, I was just like, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And it's like, or I would just be like, oh, you like this movie, even a movie that, like, you know, I was like maybe 10, I wouldn't, you know, it shouldn't appeal to me in any way, like, you know. Just for example, I think I recommended like a movie to this like old couple, like As Good as It Gets, you know, the Jack Nicholson, Ellen Hunt movie. Like no one my age was watching that movie, but like I watched it and I enjoyed it. There you go.
I watched it when I was a kid.
Yeah. So
I have a story of one day my parents went out, you know, back in the day of video stores, and they had rented out 2 movies and they'd hid them away because they were, you know. So I pulled them out, and one was a pornographic movie, and the other one was Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God!
And so I went, you know, I've heard the good things about this Pulp Fiction, so I sat and watched Pulp Fiction, and then put them both away because I didn't have time to watch both of them.
Oh, damn! And you picked the Pulp Fiction and not the porn.
Well, because I heard it was a good movie, and it was. I really enjoyed it.
Porn's never got a good storyline, and they always end up having sex.
You always know how it
Spoiler
ends.
alert!
It became handy at one point because when I was in the late 90s when the South Park movie came out. But my mum would never, you know, like, she went and watched it to see if it was suited. She's like, Jake, you're not watching the movie. And then
she loved it, though.
I even wanted the soundtrack, and she literally, she's really, it was the most controlling I've seen her. Like, she's not like, you know, that anymore, but it's just like, you know, she went into, I think it was called Sounds, which is the equivalent of Sanity and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, she went in and listened to the album. She's like, no, you're not getting that.
Oh, wow.
And then, like, you know, and then I was trying to go to, like, you know, when it came out video, I was trying to, you know, convince my mum, I'm not getting it for you. But then, like, obviously it came in, Dad's thing. I'm like, can you bring South Park home? He's like, yeah.
Very, very tricky. So did you have a little section, Richie recommends?
Oh, yeah, should have.
You should have.
Oh, that'd be good.
Oh, this wasn't like the video shop, but like I think they got this idea from it. Like when I was like 13, 14, you know, I wanted a PS2 or something like that. And leading up to, you know, my birthday, like, you know, I'd always rent one, or I was sort of thinking. And, like, you know, and I would play it, and then, like, you know, Mum would take it back after the, you know, after it's due. But, like, what was happening is, like, she'd bought me one ages ago, and, like, whenever I'd say, I want to rent out a PlayStation, she would just get it out from the cupboard, set it up, and she'd be like, it's time to take it back now.
Oh, she's clever.
God.
Oh, God. I'm sorry, that was very loud, but I'm really impressed with that as a mother.
Your mum's parenting skills.
She's sneaky.
She's like, if I say I want to rent it out, so she'd take like maybe 45 minutes just to make sure she's sort of maybe going somewhere else at the time. So she'll come out, go back, and then just.
What a clever woman! Yeah. I really like that. That's very good.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was yeah.
Well, I will say that I suck at recommending films because my parents were in their 70s at the time, and we had a whole heap of DVDs. They said, "Oh, you know, we'll watch something," and I'm looking through it, and I said, "Oh, let's watch Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels because that's a great movie, right? I love it."
Yeah, it is a good movie.
So we put it on. I don't realise how much bloody swearing there is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sit there and David's looking at me like, what are you doing? We watch the whole movie. They laugh. They enjoy it. Yeah. They go over to my sisters and they watch the movie they watch over there is Walk the Line, which is the Johnny Cash one.
Yeah, the Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah.
And I said to my dad, I said, "Oh, did you like it?" And he went, "Oh." He said, "I said to your mother, there's not enough effort swearing in this one." So...
Well, yeah,
They acknowledged it.
because it was a small video shop. Like, Dad couldn't afford to order and everything. So there'd be some like obviously if the movie came out in the movies, like you automatically you should you could get it. If it's an award contender, obviously you get like a maximum. I think it was 6 copies. But like it was obviously once it comes direct to DVD. So I'd watch him or he'd watch him like no it's shit, no, don't bother. It's but that's what I liked about the video shop, because like you get a lot of preview copies. So I'd get like the movies that come out that was scheduled to come out on DVD. I'd get them like a month earlier, and I'd just like I'd watch them, and then you just see a thing down the bottom of the screen saying preview copy only.
Wow. That would have been something. I remember when the Doctor Who reboot was, and I used to get onto the BBC website, but they were so far ahead of us. But it just wasn't the big deal it is now. It was really hard to get onto the website, and all I could find out was what was going on next, and then that was it. And it just, I don't know, I feel like technology just went crazy at one point while I was, I don't know, in the bathroom, avoiding being kissed, and I came out, and technology was
10 seconds later.
Yeah.
There's no blockbusters.
Yeah, I know. God, I used to love wandering down the aisles.
So did I,
Yeah.
I think there's still like a place for them like in like country towns where there's nothing to do.
I suppose if they can't get that, and there's still like drive-in theatres.
Yeah, there's still driving theatres. One you like Yetler, I think. But then you've got those movie kiosk things. I still use them. Like
I use that.
I use them because like I mean, it's cool saying like Netflix got all that stuff, but like with Netflix and Stan and all them and like Amazon, it's very random. Like you don't know what movies are coming out, so it's not like the movies that just come on DVD are going to come there. Like if you wanted to watch, a movie that just came out on DVD that you missed at the theatre, you have to go to the kiosk scene. You can't just go, wait for it to come on Netflix, because that could be 8 months from now.
Yeah, exactly. And there are certain things that I think, well, I missed it at the cinema, I want to see it, I'll go to the kiosk.
Yeah. And I'm very like a day school with it's supposed to have it for a night, but sometimes I've had it for ages. Just like, okay, yeah, that's why my bank account's low. I forgot to take this back.
Okay.
You just don't have a spotty teenager looking at you going, you're 3 days late, you need to pay this fee.
I used to have this service, like, it's called Quick Flicks, right? You would put a bunch of movies on your list, and then they would send you a movie in the mail, and then, but you didn't.
Was that through Telstra? Or?
I think so.
I did that too, but every time I got one, it didn't work.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's I had an issue with that sometimes too. But like their main thing is like just send it back whenever you want. Mine. So I was like, I've had movies there for like, I think there was one Looney Tunes thing. I want to do that like nostalgia. So I bought this like Looney Tunes DVD. I think I had it for about a year.
Wow.
Before I even went, still got this.
That's how Netflix started. They started off as that sort of company in America. And they would send you out physical DVDs. You'd watch them, and then basically you couldn't get any more DVDs until you return that.
That's the only issue. You can't get. They won't send you more DVDs unless you return one. But like you can have the DVD for as long as you want.
That's how Netflix
so, all right, favorite Looney Tunes character.
I think as a kid and maybe now, if I watched it again, I was quite partial to Taz.
I think Taz is cool.
I said that like if my puppy was a boy, I'd call it probably Taz, because it's just like has random spurts of energy or out of nowhere, and I'm like Jesus, what? And so I like Taz. That's probably, I mean, Daffy Duck was alright. I was probably quite partial to I like Looney Tunes, but as a kid I became more of a Tiny Toons fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tiny Toons. I like Tiny Toons. That was sick.
My favourite would be the Brain from Tiny Toons.
Yeah.
Is that Pinky and the Brain?
Pinky and the Brain. Yeah.
Oh, look,
Snarf.
Even that was one of the few things that my kids watched that I really thought was quite funny.
Remember that they tried to spin it off because it was like Pinky the Brain and was it Elma? Oh yeah, there was a little girl.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was just it didn't make sense at all.
No.
But but I was quite, like even when I was probably a teenager, my big thing was Nickelodeon was huge back then. I mean, when I was 10, 11, so I'd get up there was any time I was really raring to get up and get ready for school, because I'd get my uniform on really quickly and then watch Rocko's Modern Life and then whatever came after that, and then so but I remember I miss those days and stuff, and I know probably recently in the last 5 years they all came out on sort of DVD and stuff. So
Yeah.
and I bought it just for like a nostalgia thing.
Dun, dun, dun.
I pretended I had a sonic screwdriver about 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. I'm getting a phone call, and so I need my phone.
Yeah.
And I never need my phone. I've got like one of those like Nokias.
Yeah.
Like those horrible Nokia
people, I
phones.
wish you could see this.
Oh my.
And you never really need this phone. And
No.
I was and my brother and I, we got hessian sacks, put cardboard in them, and went to this hill nearby, and we just went down the hill on these hessian sacks on cardboard.
Oh, that would be fun.
And then later that night, we were hanging out. We were watching Doctor Who, and
But you're not a nerd.
and I was like, "Oh my god, where's my phone? Oh my god, I can't find my phone." I was looking all over the house and everything. And then my mum's like, "Oh, don't worry, it'll show up." And I'm like, "No, I need that phone. I've got like a really important phone call. Couldn't even tell her what it was about." And then I was like, "It's probably in the park." And then this is like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm going back to the park. And my mum's like, don't you dare go back to that park at this time of the night. And I'm like, I'm going back. I've got to go home anyway. I'm driving. I'm leaving anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm going there.
Yeah.
And she's going, well, how will I know if you live and all that kind of stuff? I'm like, well, I don't know, because either I
If
find
I
the
find
phone,
my phone, I'll call
or I
you.
don't, you know?
So watch the news.
And so I went. I was like, I'm going back there, and I went to the park, and I had a torch and everything, and I had this torch, and I was walking through this park at like midnight with a torch, but before I turned it on, I pretended it was a sonic screwdriver. Because it was small and it was silver. It was a little silver mini torch, and it had like a twisty knob and everything. And I was actually, and talking about acting like the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
I was like running through the park.
What would David Tennant do?
Like a little Weasley, and thought, if some toughs, some local
And
hoodlums.
is that the original phone? Did you find it?
So actually, I'll tell you this first.
All right.
So I'm walking through the park with my torch / sonic screwdriver. I walk up to the gazebo where I was sitting during the day, and there's a couple there. Like,
At midnight.
Yeah, just like sitting there. My mum was overreacting. It was the park near the university. I used to walk through there all the time.
Rightio,
Okay.
I was like, it's gonna be fine. I used to walk through there all the time back in the
And
day.
it turned out that couple were Cybermen.
And I'm like walking up to him like a psycho with a torch, and I'm like, "Hey guys,
Alonzi, have you seen my phone?"
And I was like, "Don't worry, guys, just looking for my phone." I left my phone there earlier, and then for like 5 minutes, I could tell the chick was really annoyed. Like they were probably going to make out or something.
Yeah.
And
It
this
might have
goober
been.
shows
It might
up.
have been an illicit affair.
Yeah, and I think they were foreign or something, like maybe Spanish or something. They were speaking in like another language, and then at one stage, one of the guy goes, because I've been walking around them in the gazebo for like 4 minutes, and the guy goes to me, "I can call your phone if you want," and I was like, "The phone's dead, mate." And then
Why do you have a phone?
and it kind of annoyed me because I was like, "You don't want to help me find your phone. You're just trying to look good in front of her."
No, he just wants you to bugger off so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
can fondle her.
Exactly. And so eventually I left, and I was annoyed because the battery was fully charged.
Yeah.
And these phones do not die easily.
Yep.
No,
They do not die easily.
they're
And I was like,
bricks.
someone's stolen my goddamn phone. Why would somebody steal this phone? There's nothing. There's no photos. There's nothing. There's no internet.
Oh, mate, we could get $5.
Anyway, so you want to know what ended up happening with the phone?
Where?
So the next day I went back around to my mum's because I was like, this is the only other place that I went. So the day before it wasn't ringing. My phone wasn't ringing.
Yeah.
And then so I said to my mum, I was like, give me another go. I want to see if I can ring it. Even though it wasn't it. And I'm looking at my mum's phone. I'm like, you don't have my number. You've got my number from like 3 years ago. So I put in the actual number, and it was just underneath the couch.
Oh, no. Your mum had been ringing you from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
but you from 3 years ago picked up and went, hello? How are you talking to me?
Yeah.
time
My
travel.
phone went off, and it was the Doctor Who theme song. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh,
I offered.
That's not true. My ringtone isn't the Doctor Who themes. It used to be. That was my phone from 3 years ago.
dun, dun, dun.
The only one I can think of, it's not my specific fandom, but if you like rugby players, I
Okay, yeah.
guess it's a thing. I don't know if I should mention the specific player's name.
No, okay.
that's fine.
We'll call him.
A rugby player.
Yeah, and
Call him Bert.
yeah, Bert. So maybe I could mention him by name because the interesting part isn't what I saw, it was what happened afterwards. But I used to deal blackjack at the casino.
Okay.
Oh, God, I didn't know where that sentence was going, did you? I used to deal...
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can see why you didn't want to mention their names.
Yeah.
So I had a famous rugby player from the Broncos at my table.
Rugby league?
Yes.
Yes, not rugby rah-rah.
No.
Okay, good.
That's the official name for it, rugby rah-rah.
So, yeah, I'm not big into sports, but I recognised his name. Nothing particularly eventful happened that night. There were lots of people fanning over him at the table.
Yeah.
Literally a week later, he was in the paper for shitting in the hallways of a hotel.
Oh, nice.
Not the one you worked at.
No, just some kind of drunken debauchery.
Really?
I was like, I met that guy.
Yeah, wow.
Did he was he really drunk at the table or
Not particularly, no. He was with
So you didn't know that a week from now he'd be crapping in a corridor?
No. I mean, he was a jerk.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Not overly, not to me and not overly, but he
to
just
fans?
came off a bit of a jerk.
And people ask you, so how was he? And you go, I didn't take any shit from him.
I took all his money.
Oh, he wasn't very good at playing?
No, just everyone loses at the casino.
Yes, there's
Good
a
to
tip
know.
for you, everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody wins in the casino except the casino.
Unless the doctor was there and he'd go, just this once, Rose, everybody wins. Everybody wins.
And then there's a setting on the sonic screwdriver
Yes.
that just lets everybody win. I like that.
I like it.
And stops people from shitting in halls.
Well, Bert the Crapper, hey?
Bert the Crapper.
You can tell
That's
us
his
off
Time
air
Lord
who
name.
it was.
That's his Time Lord name, the Crapper.
No, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything quite as amusing as that. Yeah.
You've never met a famous person?
Oh, I've met famous people, but nothing exciting in relation to how I met them. I bumped into, I can't even remember their name, the guy that has replaced David Stratton as the movie reviewer.
Graham Blundell.
Yeah, I bumped into
Arnie
him.
Jack. Wasn't he?
No, not him. No, he wasn't Arnie Jack.
I thought he was.
I can't remember his name, but I bumped into him in a record store in Sydney once, and that was interesting, but nothing funny or hilarious about it.
No, you saw Greg Chappell the other day at the chemist.
I did see him at the chemist, yeah.
He walked past him at the chemist. Dave goes, "G'day, Greg." Dave's very casual. In fact, we've met a few famous people together, and you're very, like Mickey Robbins. You go, "G'day, Mickey."
Yep.
Dave says g'day to everybody.
I kind of don't think they want me to get crazy about them or anything like that, even though inside I'm going, wow, that's such and such. Yeah.
I love that you've got this cool exterior. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I met Tim Ferguson and I was fanboying so hard.
Oh, yeah. I had to go into the bathroom and settle myself down because I was a bit teary. I'm no good at meeting famous people. But I go with Dave because Dave will just walk by them. G'day.
That's great. I love that story.
I feel they like that.
Yeah. G'day.
The whole meeting famous people is your story. It's just how casual, like, hey, mate, how's it going?
Well, remember when we met Paul McGann by the elevator at that first convention we went to?
Yes,
And
yeah.
you started it. You went, "Oh, g'day."
G'day, mate. I said,
G'day, mate.
mate.
And we started talking to him. So.
I know I saw him in Luther, and that's when I fanned a little bit
Yeah.
over him when I saw him in the role in Luther.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go.
But there might be a celebrity one day who's like, oh, maybe I do know this person.
Oh, yeah.
Casual.
Well, Mikey Robbins looked at you and went, "Oh, yeah, g'day," thinking, do I know him?
Yeah.
Because Dave's so casual about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whereas I'm just behind going, hello.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sure. Well, I have a history of walking down the street and making people go whoa from their car.
I do too, but that's usually when I have my top off. Yeah.
So the first one was me and my friend were in Switzerland we were in Zurich.
Ooh.
No, not Zurich, Lucerne.
Hang on, I'll just pick that name up for you. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Oh, thank you. We're in Lucerne, and it was in the middle of winter, so it was snow everywhere.
Oh.
And we just got there from doing a tour.
Was it a Kentucky tour?
It was a Kentucky tour.
Oh, yes, okay.
And we were smokers back then. We were out of cigarettes, so we're like, oh, we need to go get some cigarettes. But we were like, oh, I don't want to get dressed. So what we did, we wore parkas on the top and like jumpers and stuff, but we just wore shorts and sand shoes. And then we went out in -15-degree weather.
Oh, my God.
And it was just a walk down the block. So it was like maybe a 5-minute walk to the shops, so it wasn't too bad. We walked outside, the legs like, ooh, a bit crisp. And then we just walked, and people were driving past like, what? And we nearly caused like 4 accidents. I swear to God, people were like, what? Like slam on the brakes. They're just like, these guys are wearing shorts and -15. And we were just like, yeah, what's up?
You should have had your boardies and your thongs on.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think my toe would have fallen off.
Our American listeners, please don't try that while you're going through the polar vortex.
Yes, please. And a thong is a G-string in our...
Yes.
We slide it on our feet.
Thong is not a G-string.
So that was the first one, but the one maybe more inclined with your fans would be going to Comic-Con. Not Comic-Con, was it? Supernova.
Yeah,
That's
Supernova.
it. Going to Supernova at the RNA Showgrounds a few years ago. I wouldn't say I'm really interested in that sort of stuff, but like, because I was like, I'm one of those guys who's like, let's go try something.
Yeah.
I've never been.
Never
been to Comic-Con or Supernova.
Yeah, I will see. I don't have really any. I probably won't ever go. I might go to Comic-Con one more time, or take a nephew or a niece or something.
Yeah.
But like apart from that, I have no interest in going to see the stars or meet the stars.
Yeah.
You have to really want to see the guests, because otherwise it's just a bunch of stalls that are trying to sell you shit.
Yeah. And
I've been to Doctor Who conventions, but never to where it was just Doctor Who. But yeah.
So I went to Supernova, and I had a look around. It was really cool, and they did have a TARDIS in the corner.
Yep.
It was
Yeah, they usually do. Yeah.
They're really cool, and I think that the one thing that sets Doctor Who apart, it has a really cool traveler device, so it's quite iconic. Anyway, there was a big axe, which I fell in love with, so I bought this axe, and it was a big foam axe, but man, it's scary, and it's huge, so I had to walk to my car through the valley,
with your big axe.
Down the sidewalks with this big axe, and people would drive past going, what? And like at the lights, people would like wind their windows up and be like, well, I'm not dealing with that, and I'd be like, give me your money.
So this was when it was at the RNA Showground.
Yeah, this would have been about...
That's been a few years, yeah.
I wanted you to walk down the street going, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I work all night and I sleep all day.
Do you just have affinity for axes, or you just like the look of this axe?
I just love I don't care for axes at all, but this axe just
where
like
is it
coarse
now?
and down. It's in my cupboard at home. And I still get it out and play with it when I write jokes or something, like comedy jokes. I'll walk around the house and swing it while I'm figuring out a line or a joke.
That's so cool.
And it's like it wouldn't cause any damage. Well, if I hit you as hard as I could with it, you'd be like, oh, I felt that. But in the dark, if you broke into my house and I showed you this axe, and if I like, hello, in the dark, like maybe with a cigar, they'd be like, holy shit. And
you'd be like, I'm just going to leave this axe here, turn off the lights, you're going to kill yourself.
Say your name.
Say your name, and I'll deal with it in the morning.
And then you write down their name and you're like, well, I gotcha.
Trap. And they're like, why is this windowsill got sad quotes like as they're climbing up? They're like, your life is meaningless. Why is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true. My life is meaningless, but why is it there? You know,
this is the best life will get for you.
And the last big muck around I had was like meeting someone I thought was famous. I bumped into a guy called Fangar, and he was one of the forwards for the Queensland Reds.
All right, okay.
And I met him at the Bulimba at a pizzeria called Pancho's Pizza. Great pizza. Anyway, he was sitting around with other Reds players too, but he was one of the few Reds players in the Australian team.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so he's just hanging out, and we were like, I was with my friends, we're like, whoa. And I'm very awkward around people, and he was outside and chatting while we were having a cigarette. Yeah. And I went, oh, you're in the Australian team. And he went, yeah. And that was the last game. I'm like, oh, it was a cool game. And then for some reason, I don't know why I said, I'm like, you're still in the team? And he just took a step back like, what? Yeah. And my friend next to me just went, oh, why?
Well, it's just that I was reading.
Yeah, the guys are like, does that guy know something we don't know? Like, who the hell is this guy?
Like, did I do bad? I'm like, I'm sorry I said that. I just wanted to say something. I'm like, and then he left. My friend was like, you're an idiot. I'm like, I know.
Although he'll remember you. You rattled him.
Yeah.
But I do. I have moments like that all the time. In the London Zoo, there was this great enclosure. They had a great amphibian enclosure. There's the blue dart-spitting frog, which is the most poisonous on-land creature in the world. On-land creature in the world.
Yeah.
And I was behind glass. And I went up to the screen. I didn't read the thing. I just went up and started like tapping on the window and like, hey, you. And then my friend Brent came up to me and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to get it to spit a dart at me. And he went, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, why? He's like, read it. Apparently they get it and they put it, they like kind of rub it on their spears, and that's why it's the dart frog. I just assume it went, it like had like, it would go, and like some spear would come at the window, and I'd be like, not this time, Buster. Anyway.
How does it reload?
I don't know. I don't know. I just assume it would like have like some sort of fibrous protein.
Quick, we need to reload our frogs.
Quick, put a stick up your ass and reload.
There's always spines there. It's like, nah, you haven't been able to catch anybody, have you?
So yeah, I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. And I also thought that in Elton John's song Tiny Dancer, the chorus was, it's like, lay me down on sheets of lemon. I thought that's what it was. And I was like, what kind of weird sex is Elton John having? Turns out, normal linen sex. I'm just an idiot. So I have and it's always my friend Brent who I'd be driving to the coast with him. I'd be like, lay me down on sheets of lemon, and he'd be like, let's backtrack there. What did you say? And I'd be like, huh? The other one was
you're freestyling.
You remember the song How Bizarre?
Yeah.
I used to thought I used to think it was Help is on. And all my friends go and drive to the coast, and then Help is on, and they're like, let's just take that back. What'd you say? I'm like, but my crowning jewel is you remember where it's install a ream for the hottest water you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was it's Dollarine. It's Dollarine. The hottest water I've ever seen. And then the confusing bit, reams, blah blah, it's staying hot under. You just can't get it on. Anyway, I turned to my friend and I said, oh man, that's terrible marketing. He's like, why? I'm like, the company's called Dollarine. And right at the end they're just like, it's Ream, so they've knocked off half their title. And he's like, and this is Brent again, he's like, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, why? What's happened? So this is my life, guys. It's been a pleasure.
I love how this has turned into confessional. It's just wait, let me talk about something else that I fucked up.
I actually want to tell you about my my nephew, who's now 20, but when he was 7, he thought the Australian anthem was, Australians all let us rejoice. No, Australians all have ostriches, for we are young and free.
That's great.
And my sister would say to him, do we have an ostrich? He'd go, no, but that's what the song is.
Even though we have emus, not ostriches.
Yeah, but we all have ostriches, for we are young and free.
Only young and free people get an ostrich.
Yeah, whereas I'm
you're not going to have babies? Have an ostrich then. Fucking look after that then.
You guys don't have an ostrich shoot in your house? Where you're just like, there it is. That's how you tell.
I'm bogged down with a mortgage and children. I'm not young and free.
When you actually get your house value, they don't look at the house. They go and check your ostrich. And they're like, ostrich is in good health. Probably about 500,000 here.
Thank you for going through the citizenship test. If you'd like to collect your ostrich egg on the way out, if it dies, you stop being an Australian citizen.
You just see someone drop their egg, no, police.
Straight back to where you came from.
How come you came back? Oh, I dropped my ostrich. Well, Australia's weird. Australia's real weird.
Drop my egg, man. Anyway, don't drop your egg.
We all have ostriches.
That should be Australia. Don't drop your egg.
Dun, dun, dun. Talking about ultimate fan experience. So one of the things outside of my nerddom, fortunately, outside of talking with people I got to interview Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat for the ABC.
Oh, wow.
I got to, it was mostly about Sherlock, but I sure as hell brought it around to Doctor Who a few times. Well, Sherlock is great as well.
Yeah.
And having discussions with Colin Baker on Twitter and a few other things was, I'm also a big fan of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
So when I lived in Vermont, which is where I'm from, a lot of the big acts would come through because it was a natural stop between Boston and Montreal, which is where I'm from. So we got everyone, U2, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, they all came through and they played this little dingy little auditorium, and then they would go to this all ages bar and just sit down and drink and play it an acoustic set a lot of the time. So I got to see amazing bands for nothing doing this thing. I got to see Nirvana do acoustic set, Pearl Jam in this little pub in the States. And anyway, so one of the ways a poor kid could get to these concerts is you would volunteer to be security.
Yep.
Yeah.
That way I got kissed by Billy Joe from Green Day, which is a highlight. My girlfriend at the time was laughing, and I'm like, what? She goes, turn, and I turned, and he just grabbed me. And I was just like, fair enough. That's going in the old mind bank.
Yeah.
But no, so I decided to do security.
I'll never wash these lips again.
It tasted like beer and regret, so yeah, maybe.
So I did Manson's show,
Yeah.
one of his shows in Vermont. I did it security, and we were outside having a cigarette afterwards. And he comes outside and goes, "Oh, can I grab a cigarette?" I'm like, yeah, of course. Give him a cigarette. He goes, "You guys want a beer, coffee, or anything?" And we're like, "Yeah, go for a beer." He goes, "This is like one of the biggest stars in the world at that time. This is just Antichrist Superstar just launched."
Yeah,
goes inside, comes back with a tray of beers. He's like, "Oh yeah, and we hung out with us, had a chat."
Wow.
And he was the coolest, nicest person.
Really?
Supposedly, also later that night, a friend of mine worked at the only 24 hours diner in Vermont. Which was like a Denny's, which is crap food anyway. But anyway, so there was the only place. So they go in there. The whole crew, his whole entourage, everyone goes in there, order a bunch of food. Supposedly they were super polite, super nice the whole time. My friend was the server, so didn't make a big deal about who it was.
Yeah.
He came back after they left. They had left him $1,000 tip. A stack of CDs, not even just Manson CDs. It was like Metallica, all this stuff, massive merch, they shirts, hats, all this stuff, and just because they gave him good food and an autograph saying, "Thanks so much for the great service."
That's awesome.
Right, well, you completely changed my mind about Marilyn Manson.
Well, he was cultivating that, and you read that autobiography that he wrote, and it's full of
Long Road Out of Hell.
Yeah, it's full of sick stuff that they were doing. But yeah, it's nice to know that he's actually a really nice guy.
He's a really smart guy too.
Definitely. I remember seeing him in Bowling for Columbine. Yeah.
Where he said where he said one of the best quotes ever: "When anyone is a damaged individual, what would you say to them?" "I wouldn't. I'd listen."
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. There's a great speaking one time when I did the Doctor Who episode with you, and you were talking about looking up things on YouTube. If you look up Marilyn Manson, there's a great video clip of him owning interviewers who thought that they knew who he was and were going to peg him.
Yeah.
And he just blew them out of the water. He did it to Letterman. He's done it to Jay Leno and a bunch of Fox News presenters. And so it's fantastic. Go check it out.
Probably the only thing I really know about him is, I've never really listened to his music, but I know that he went out with Rose McGowan, and I know that she was in Charmed. Because both my daughter and I, that was our one shared thing that we both loved. She didn't like Doctor Who, but we both loved Charmed. So we both got something that we could watch together.
And he was at one point making a movie about Lewis Carroll.
Really? He's an interesting guy, Lewis Carroll.
Yeah, well, he loves all that stuff. So he also loves Elvis Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a big influence on him with one of his albums, and he actually does the whole Willy Wonka speech.
Really?
And makes it only slightly less creepier than Gene Wilder.
Fantastic version of Sweet Dreams too.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I will go and listen.
I am jealous. I'm super jealous. That would be amazing.
Yeah. It was a definite highlight, and I've seen him in concert 20 times or so, and he's just always great.
It's really nice when you meet someone and they're just normal, and it's really disappointing when you meet someone that you've always liked and they're a dick.
Yeah, they always say don't meet your heroes and things like that, but I'm a huge also fan of Doug Anthony All-Stars.
So is Beck. Beck is huge.
I've actually become friends with Tim.
So has Beck.
And
are you Beck? Are you the two of you the same person?
And Paul. So Paul and I still talk over Twitter at young Paul, Master Paul, and I got to interview him as well.
Wow.
And
we've met Tim.
We've met Tim through Beck.
Yeah.
And
I've done his writing course. His comedy writing course.
The Cheeky Monkeys.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
He's so nice. In fact, what I love is that Beck says this is Nicchia, and he goes, "Oh, hello, I'm Tim." Really? I had no idea who you were. I just lined up here.
The best is still because every time they come to town, I go and see him, and when especially when they're doing DAS stuff, and I go there and I'll get in line because I'm nobody.
Yeah,
I'll get in line. Every time I get in line, I hear, "Mr. Black does not stand in line."
That's not.
And a friend of mine who introduced me to Das when I first came, because we didn't know about him in the States.
No, you wouldn't have, would you?
He crapped himself when that happened. And and then I go up there and Paul's like, Scott, how you going? And he's like, and I'm like, I've told you, I've talked to these guys. Everyone's approachable. Just actually go up and talk to them as human beings.
But we did the same thing. We got in line and we waited.
We were very and I was a bit overwhelmed. I had to go into the ladies' toilet afterwards because I had such a crush on him when I was young.
I still have a crush on him.
Yeah. And
I have his number and I have a crush on him. I just send him inappropriate texts in the middle of the night.
Well, we better go so you and Beck can talk about Tim Ferguson and
Dun, dun, dun. So a couple of years ago, back when I was working for a major fast food franchise that's quite
golden and it arches all across the planet.
And you don't have to wear a crown.
And you don't have to wear a crown.
Okay.
I was working for them on a food truck at the Brisbane Tennis Open, and we had to sign a disclaimer saying that we wouldn't speak to any of the players.
Why did they make you do that? Well, you're not allowed.
Just in case
Can't you
don't
just
harass
say
them,
hello?
Yeah, just in case like you harass them, put them on. It's
even if they order, you're not allowed to say, "Oh, that'll be $15."
Yeah.
You just got to sign it to them. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm joking.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking, how precious are these things?
So we'll just sign it. We're walking to the food truck to see where we're going to be set up. And my coworker says to me, she says like, it really sucks that we had to sign that we couldn't speak to any of the players. I wouldn't mind speaking to some of them. And I said, yeah, but it's not like we're going to meet Roger Federer. Like Roger Federer's not going to come to
a fast food stand.
Yeah, to a fast food stand. And as I said that, a car pulls up next to me and out walks Roger Federer.
And did he order anything?
He did not order anything. No, he went straight to training. But we did have some celebrity tennis players come down because it was to promote a build your own burger menu. Where there's all these ingredients, you got to choose what was on it. So a couple of the tennis players came down to build their burgers.
Oh,
and
you had to speak to them.
No, I didn't have to speak to them. I just finished my shift, and Pat Rafter came down, and he was doing his burger. And then someone gets to get the burger for free. Whoever wants it just gets it for free.
Oh, wow.
And Pat Rafter just kept on looking at me. He was like, "Who wants it?" And I just had a burger, and I was like, "I'm not gonna have it." He just keeps on thinking, he was like, "Yeah, I reckon you want it, mate, don't you?" I'm like, "No, like I don't want your burger, Pat."
That's a bit insulting.
Yeah, it was so weird. He just kept on looking because no one really wanted it, and then just by chance, this old British couple came past, and they saw Pat Rafter there, and this lady was like, "I'm your biggest fan." Oh, like she was quite high pitched.
Do you want my burger?
No.
Yeah. And it's like, "Well, do you want my burger?" And she said, "Yeah." So she had the burger, but he just kept on looking at me, just being like,
"Come on,
do you want?"
You want it.
Because I was eyeing him because I found it was very funny that nobody wanted his burger.
But how weird was the burger? Was it a burger that no one wanted to eat, or everyone's just like,
it was just a big burger that you wouldn't want to eat unless you were hungry. Like you just put way too much stuff on it. I imagine it'd be a very sloppy burger.
Yeah.
And did it have a name? Like, was it a name it after your own stadium burger?
No, it was the Pat Rafter Arena outside the arena burger.
Yeah,
because that's where all the filling ended up.
Yes.
Yeah. the big Patty Rafter.
Yeah, the big Pat.
The big Pat.
Yeah. Anyway,
a lot of patties with the big Pat.
Yeah, those are my two celebrity stories. Because I've done nothing for my fandoms. Like, I've dressed up for midnight premieres, but
which midnight
Star
premieres?
Wars.
Oh, just Star Wars?
Yeah.
No Marvel?
No. I'll go to Marvel midnight premiere, but I just don't dress up for it.
And what's your go-to Star Wars character? Yeah, what do you dress as?
Stormtrooper?
So...
That'd be an expensive costume.
Yeah.
Jedi Knight number 3.
Ooh.
So I just chuck on some robes and have a lightsaber.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest costume to do.
So that sounds like about as much effort as you put in for the I'm going to the I Claudius toga party as slave number 6.
Yeah. And as we know, everyone, there's a lot of I Claudius cosplayers out there that love to...
Yeah, I Claudius was huge. And once again, you can all get fucked. Okay.
Philip?
So I'm not a cosplayer. Though I did go to a party dressed as Tweedledee and Tweedledum once. But
what, both of them?
No. My wife at the time was the other.
Okay.
So I'm a bit of a Wolf Creek fan.
Oh, yes.
And particularly liked the way that John Jarratt could get that menace into his laugh. Such that he almost personified some evil.
Yeah, he ruined my play school memories, but anyway.
Indeed. And Noni's as well.
I bet.
I love for our American listeners that John Jarratt, was he started on Play School?
Oh no, he was in.
No, but he was in Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah, he was, but he was in lots of stuff when we were growing up. You know, he was in Rush, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. I think he would have been pretty young in that.
Or John Waters?
Yeah, you're thinking John Waters.
Yeah, I am too.
With a very young Jackie Weaver.
But when I was growing up, I knew John Jarratt for two things. One being Noni Hazelhurst's
husband.
And 2, being on Better Homes and Gardens. So they would be the couple that would show you how to fix up a bookcase to match your decor or something like that.
How to get a peg and build a bed out of it.
Yeah. So this movie comes out and he's a crazy serial killer, and it is it's insane.
Based maybe on another
Ivan Milat. Yeah.
Ivan Milat, maybe, but very creepy.
Perhaps even based on what was the one in Central Australia?
Oh yeah, with that poor boy. Yeah.
So I used to live in the Blue Mountains out west of Sydney, and when I lived there, Noni and John used to live at Hazelbrook, and I lived further up at Wentworth Falls.
Yep.
I moved to Brisbane. Noni moves to Mount Tamborine.
Oh, she's so hot for you.
And John, because they'd split up, but to stay close to their children, John moved to Canmore.
Oh. Really?
For a while, which is where I lived. One night, and he was only 8 at the time.
John Jarrett.
No, my son. One night, my middle son, Will, decided that as I'd fallen asleep in front of the television, he could choose whatever TV program he wanted to watch. And Wolf Creek was on.
Oh, no.
And he watched Wolf Creek.
Oh, no.
How old was he?
8.
8 or a bit younger.
Oh, my God.
And then the next morning he said, Dad, I did something wrong last night. I said, what's that, mate? He said, I watched Wolf Creek and it was really scary.
Oh, no.
I had to turn it off and go to bed. And I said, okay, mate, that's fine. Now you know why sometimes we ask you not to watch programs, because they really aren't suitable. I kid you not.
Oh, my God.
1 week later, we were queuing up at a coffee shop in Canmore.
Yes.
And standing in front of me was John Jarrett.
Yes.
Will was by my side, and we went to this coffee shop all the time. Will was by my side. I said, mate, look who it is in front. And expecting it to be one of our close friends, he ran around in front of the person in front of me, looked up, realised who it was, and his eyes just bugged out.
Oh, no.
That's great.
That is such a scary movie. I couldn't sleep for ages after it.
So 2 years ago when Mad Max Wolf Creek 2 came out, we went and saw it together.
Oh, gosh. And did he enjoy it?
He loved it. He held Dad's hand because Dad was a bit scared.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Hey, I'm there with you. It's a very scary movie.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's like watching Seven. Did anyone ever watch Seven with...
I've been meaning to.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
It's a good
I was
movie.
Depressed,
really good movie.
Depressed for about a week after I watched Seven.
But on the bright side, haven't we all wanted to do that to Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes, we have.
Well, recently with the Goop thing.
Yeah, well, that's it. She was packed in goop.
What happens to Gwyneth Paltrow?
You'll have to watch the movie.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie. No spoilers. No spoilers. What's in the box? Watch the movie.
It's on 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah, I know. Oh, is she lost?
I think you should just
watch the movie.
We're not telling you.
But yeah, anyway, Gwyneth Paltrow has a Netflix deal and a podcast deal because of her Goop brand, which makes me very sad.
It'd be nice to start a podcast and already be a celebrity, wouldn't it? Because you've already got people listening.
We talked about circumcision before. Did we want to talk about Jade Balls?
No.
No.
Can we not?
I don't think I've seen that porn star.
Yeah, what's she most well known for?
Well, she's got balls. Jade balls.
Jade balls.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed those stories. They're very interesting.
I thought they were great. Yeah, there's some good stories there.
Quite a few football stories. I think we have quite a lot of male guests on.
Yeah, we need to get more female guests.
And Chris Martin seems to think that smoking is a fandom. But anyway.
You're the one having the bromance with him, buddy.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
This is so funny.
Move over, Taylor.
Well, I don't want to fuck him.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. I have a non-sexual. My husband and I both have a non-sexual crush on Ashwin. So,
okay, rightio.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say me. But no, that's fine. No, that's fine.
No.
Rightio.
I didn't expect her to say me because nobody does.
Oh, no.
Well, don't worry, Beck. Don't worry, Beck. I have a non-sexual crush on Ashwin too. So.
I don't want you to feel left out.
Yeah, I don't want you to feel left out.
I know.
So you should have a non-sexual crush on Ashwin as well.
Yeah.
It's too much effort.
It's non-sexual, so it's not a lot of effort.
Okay, well, get it, girl. Get it. Get a sexual crush on Ashwin.
Now that takes effort. Okay, I thought they were good, and I'd like to do another one of these. I think we should keep collecting stories.
If you have a question that you think might be interesting for us to ask our guests, please let us know, and maybe we'll come up with a new story episode. We like doing these because it lets us reminisce about the guests that we've had on, and it's kind of easier to put an episode together when we can't get together.
But it's also really good if we can include stories and questions and things from our listeners, because then we're giving, we're making ourselves laugh. Hopefully we're making them laugh, and we're also giving them some content that they're interested in. So
yeah,
win-win.
Shouldn't be just Doctor Who related. Like, what's your favourite episode of Doctor Who? Because some of our guests have never watched Doctor Who before.
Yeah,
so we need a question that they can interpret in their own way, like
our Time Lord name one that we asked
I think
everyone.
that's quite good. And we've got
a board
up.
I like the board, because everyone then comes back, even if they're a Whovian or not.
Sometimes it leaves me bored. So
oh, hail the board.
It shouldn't. It's very beautiful.
It is very beautiful. Oh, hail the board. Oh my god.
Kind of reminds me of Mr. Squiggle then.
Upside down.
But blackboard would go, hurry up, hurry up.
Yeah, that's me.
Up. Yeah.
That's the epitome of me.
You'd like us to finish now, is that what you're trying to say?
No.
Oh.
D4WH is on Facebook. Give our page a like for updates, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at D4WHpod. We'll post questions and polls and would love your input and feedback. Rate and review us on iTunes, recommend us on Facebook, and follow us on Podbean. We are also now available on Spotify and Stitcher. Help us get the word out. Tell your friends about us, and if you see someone on the street wearing a Doctor Who shirt, politely go up to them and suggest our podcast. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed that episode. Thank you very much, and keep searching the skies for the Doctor.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This has been a production of The Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?